Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another Minnesota Twins trade rumors video, but this isn't really a trade rumor. This is more of a guy we should just go pick up, or at least I think so. I want to know your opinion on it as always, but you've seen the title, Eduardo Nunez. He's a familiar face to the Twins. I definitely want to know what you guys think, but I'm going to tell you why I think it would be a good idea to bring him back. So, let's talk about him. Obviously, he was just DFA'd from the Boston Red Sox. And you know what? That's, I think, a little bit surprising. You know, I don't follow the Red Sox. I don't follow, the AL East. But, he is a good guy who the Twins have had before. So, that name comes up when you type in Minnesota Twins, trade rumors and stuff like that. So, basically, I'll give you the rundown. We're going to give you his stats. I'm going to give you why I think we should or should not get him. And we'll go from there, where he's going to fit in. So, this is my thought behind this. He hasn't had the greatest 2019. He is a decent player, but I think he could help the Twins. That's my little spiel on it before we get into the stats. So, let's go into the stats here. This season has not had a good year. He really hasn't. He is played in 60 games, right? So, he's not, an everyday starter in Boston. 174 plate appearances. He's got 13 runs, 38 hits, 7 doubles, 2 home runs, 20 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, 4 walks, 27 strikeouts, a batting average of 228, OBP of 243, a slugging of 305, and an OPS of 548. Now, granted, I know that's really, really bad. But hear me out. He was a big factor in last year's World Series, right? He was a huge factor, when the Twins were good back in 2017, 2016. He wasn't with the team in 2017. But, when the team was put, they had gotten, Miguel Sano, Buxton, Rosario, they had pushed those guys up. Nunez was there, and he was kind of like, I wouldn't say a veteran, but he was the guy who, pushed the charge, or at least helped out with these guys that were a little younger, and was able to get them a little bit better. Obviously, 2016 was a really bad year, but, he was a guy who was one of the best guys on the team because he was one of the oldest, I guess. He was a veteran at that point, at 28 years old, so I get that he is a little older, but I think this would be a great bench bat. Let's talk about him when he was on the Twins. He was really good when he was on the Twins. And I think with how we manage him, he could be back to this potential. So let's talk about him in 3 years with the Twins. He played in 235 games. He had 813 plate appearances, 98 runs, 214 hits, 36 doubles, 6 triples, 20 home runs, 91 RBIs, 44 stolen bases, 32 walks to 118 strikeouts, a 280 batting average, a 311 OBP, and a 422 slugging. That is a 733 OPS. Now, granted, that is over 3 years. However, if you split it in those 3 years, he was an all-star with the Twins. In 2016, when he got traded to the Giants, roughly halfway through the season, right about the trade deadline, when the Twins were selling off in 2016, and he went to the Giants. But this was a guy, again, who was good. He was an all-star with the Twins, and he had his best seasons with the Twins. This is why I think we need to go pick him up. He's DFA'd, which means we don't have to give up anything for him except for, somebody on our roster. But we have also had him on the team before, and he proved that he was good. Now, I'm not saying he's going to start anywhere, but I think what we could do is take Scope. I think Scope's a great player, right? I think Scope is a guy we like to have, and I think we need on our team. But who is the guy to really, back him up? Arise, kind of, but he's like Polanco's backup at shortstop. He can play second base. He's kind of quick, right? But I think to have another player like Nunez would be good. Like, again, he was good in the World Series last year. He stepped up when he needed to with the Twins when they were really, really bad. And if Scope, doesn't work out, he's been in a slump, recently, I think we could put a Rise or, a guy like Nunez in there when we need to. That is a guy who I think would fit really well in the system, and he is capable of playing second base. He's capable of playing third base if we wanted to trade Sano. Again, we probably won't do that, but I'm just saying he's a guy who can play multiple positions. Gonzalez can do that. Arise can do that. So many other guys can do that, really, on our team that have stepped up. But, we've had injuries, okay? And more than likely, I think we'll be okay moving forward. But if we need another bench spot, another guy who, is probably not going to, be the all-star, like he was back in 2016. He's probably not going to be the World Series MVP. But do we have everybody that we need to on the bench to, win and go deep into games, right? We've played a lot of extra inning games as of lately. Do we have guys that are capable of stepping in there when somebody's struggling? I don't know if that is truly the case. And of course, I know we need pitching, right? And of course that is a big issue. But we've done well, and the only way we can make our team better is to go put to go get somebody, right? To get a guy like Nunez, a veteran who has won a World Series with Boston last year. He's played on the Twins before. I just don't see how there wouldn't be a case to at least put him on the bench, okay? And the other reason is, if you look at him compared to somebody like Eduardo Escobar, right, who we traded just last season as a free agent, or a free agent that was going to be with Dozier and all those guys we got rid of. He's very similar to a guy like Escobar. Again, he hasn't hit so many doubles, like he used to, but he's a guy who can swing the bat if he's in that situation, right? And if you compare him to Escobar, I think it would be really great to go pick up Escobar again, but I think Nunez would be a very close second. So if you compare him to a guy like Escobar, he's a guy who will put contact to the baseball, right? He will put the ball in play. He's not going to strike out a lot. 27 strikeouts in 60 games, 174 plate appearances. That is very good. He's never been a guy to strike out a lot. He's never really played a lot. He was a guy who, with the Twins even, was an every other day starter. The most games he's ever played in was 141 back in 2016 when he played 91 with the Twins. He was pretty much our everyday starter that year, but he's a guy who's going to put the ball in play, okay? That's important, right? And that'll make good things happen. He's a contact guy. We have power guys. We need contact guys. I think if we're going to go trade for somebody, it's got to be a contact guy. And he's capable of doing that. He can play everywhere. He is a guy who's been with the Twins. He's a former All-Star. He has won a World Series. I just don't see... He's DFA'd, right? So that means we don't have to get anything for him. We don't have to give anything up except for a roster spot. There's no reason, I don't think, that we shouldn't at least explore this option, right? Again, granted, we have a good team. And I don't think we need to necessarily make moves, but he is the guy who, if we were to make a move, for nothing, right? For nothing. Even if we just sign him, I don't know what his contract is. I guess it was like $5 million for this season from Boston. But, if we were able to get him for, cheap, okay? And just for this last part of the season, I don't think there's a reason not to, right? And, because guy gets hurt, guy struggles down the stretch, we have a guy to plug in there and can really, be back with the team, right? He can do his job. So I want to know what you guys think, though. I really do. Nunez is a guy I think is worth it, especially for the price we'd have to pay for him. The risk versus reward is not high. Or, yes, it's not high. So I think it would be a good idea to at least look into this. But I definitely want to know what you guys think. I know we don't necessarily need guys like this who are bench players or stuff like that. But I think he could fill out a roster, and he could be, a guy we could use. down the stretch. So I definitely want to know what you guys think, if this is even worth it or if I just wasted 10 minutes or so. But I definitely want to know what you think. Go Twins, right? We got a big home series now. Of course, the game reviews will come back, but that's all I got for you today. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Click above my head if you missed yesterday's or a couple days ago videos. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.